Call a meeting of the fiscal court to order. Welcome everybody this morning. We have a rather lengthy agenda. We'll try to get through with our business in a timely fashion. First on the agenda, Josh.
Thanks, Judge. Have a few things to bring for you guys today. First of all, this is a resolution for the Energy Efficiency Conservation Block Grant. I need to get you all to approve this so that we can get you to execute any kind of grant agreements, anything that comes down the way for us.
All right, let me read this. This is a resolution of the fiscal court of Marshall County, Kentucky, authorizing the county judge executive to enter into an agreement with the Department for Local Government, DOG, for energy efficiency and conservation grant loan to execute any documents which are deemed necessary by DOG to facilitate this project and to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Whereas Marshall County, Kentucky has made an application for an energy efficiency and conservation grant and loan for a project to be administered by the Kentucky Department for Local Government. Whereas it is recognized that an application for and approval of an energy efficiency and conservation grant loan imposes certain obligations and responsibilities upon the county. Now therefore be it resolved on this 11th day of June 2013 by the fiscal court of Marshall County, Kentucky fiscal court, and the county judge executive is hereby authorized to execute and furnish all required documentation, including a memorandum of agreement as may be required by DOG for the furtherance of the above referenced project and to act as the authorized correspondent for said project. What's your pleasure?
Motion approved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Anderson.
Second.
Motion by, second by Commissioner Drew. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Judge. And I guess I'll get a copy of that from you guys and send it. The other thing I want to update you guys on is the Tiger 2013 grant that our Port Authority been planning to apply for, approximately $7 million. We and Sheriff and I, David Max, have gone through this. We ran into some trouble with the IRS. Last year, the IRS wasn't pleased with the way we had our applicant name Marshall County Fiscal Court because there were so many other agencies underneath that would apply for funds. So they suggested we change it to Marshall, County of. This year the IRS has decided they don't like commas and applicant names. So we had to go back, change the name, and get it okayed through 3 different agencies, which takes about, well, we don't know how long it takes since we're not done with it yet. However, I got an email yesterday, Judge, that there were so many problems with grants.gov and this process with the IRS and some other agencies that they're accepting applications via email. So I've submitted that application via email as of yesterday, and I've kept all the documentation, so hopefully that will help. But it was very trying, and
Did Dave get his in that way as well?
I
Yeah,
don't-
did you send that to David?
I did. I let him know that they were referring everybody. The grants.gov network was down, so nobody could submit anything, which had absolutely nothing to do with the IRS or the other 3 agencies involved. So anyway, that's done. What I thought was not.
Is this the 3rd time we've applied?
Yeah, this is the 3rd time we've applied for the Tiger funds. So hopefully, and this is for the rail spur, and then the Port Authority would match $1.5 million for McFarland Road upgrades. So we'll remain optimistic and see what happens. The other thing I wanted to bring up to you, Judge, I spoke with Mayor Jones late last week regarding the industrial wastewater treatment operation that Air Products owns right now. Air Products is trying to sell that operation as they have with some of their other utilities that they provide to several of the plants there in Calvert City. We've been meeting. There's been a committee that's met, made up of some city officials as well as some of the industrial representatives that come to those meetings. we've got to figure out a solution, Judge. This is basically it's a wastewater treatment plant that would be a nightmare to get re-permitted should somebody buy it. The city and the city of Calvert's water and sewer have been looking into the likelihood of building a new wastewater treatment facility. Don't know yet the impact of that, what it's going to cost, but the last figures I heard were somewhere in excess of $60 million to build that new facility that would treat the existing plants that we have. It's very imperative that we have that plant, because if we can't treat the wastewater, then the plants can't operate and our people don't work. So I'll say all that to say this: Mayor Jones and the city have, I don't know if they have committed or are in talking about committing some funds, somewhere around $100,000 to the study that would go toward this wastewater treatment facility plant. The industries are also going to be participating in this. To what extent, Judge, I don't know. But Mayor Jones wanted me to address the court and see if the court would be interested in financially obligating themselves to a portion of the funds to go towards the study. There was an application was made through EDA. We felt pretty confident about it, but they rejected our application at the federal level, so we weren't able to get those funds to fund the study. So the study is probably going to run about $300,000. That's just to begin the project process and engineering. So,
How much, did the mayor indicate how much that he wanted the fiscal court to participate?
he did not say. He did say that the city, I don't know if this was a mixture of the city water and sewer and the city council, or just the city council, but he had indicated the city of Calvert was going in $100,000. I'm assuming that he was interested in seeing if the county would want to go $100,000 as well, and then the industries going $100,000 on the study. So that would make up the $300,000 for the study to begin that process.
Questions from the court?
Well, I know there's already been a lot of work done on the regional wastewater treatment facility by at least one of the plants down there. And I'm not sure what all engineering or what work they did, but I don't know if it's available. And I don't believe it included the city. I think it just included the plants.
Yeah.
When certain air regulations came out, some of the plants came under some more strict air regulations that dealt with wastewater, and so they've looked at that, but no one's ever moved forward with any of the projects yet anyway.
In my understanding, and a lot of this goes way over my head. I know nothing about wastewater except that it runs downhill, Bob. But go ahead.
And maybe, Lloyd, I know you cover the council meetings. Do either of y'all know when we would need to obligate this money? I mean, we're right here at budget time, and to add $100,000, I want to help. I mean, this is an important issue. Maybe it's something, Bob, that the Riverport Authority Board needs to look into as well.
I wouldn't doubt that.
But we need, I think, y'all correct me, I think we need to be a little more specific of how much they're gonna need and how much time we'd have to prepare
I'd
for
like
that.
to maybe sit down and discuss with them beyond the $100,000, what would we be looking at? I would hate to obligate $100,000, not knowing what we would need to plan on for the future beyond that, because we'll have.
I don't think anything would be done. I don't think anything now would be done before the next budget year, would it? I mean, we wouldn't obligate any funds now anyway.
Well,
would we?
I understand, but we don't have, just to be honest with you, $100,000 to put in next year's budget that I know.
That's right.
Right. So that's what I would want to make sure of, that if we're going to commit, that we're able to fully commit now and
Sure.
what that future commitment would be. Is there a way that we could maybe all schedule a meeting? Or?
I'm sure that we could do that. I'm just kind of acting as a liaison
Yeah.
for the city.
Well, I certainly
So-
believe that we want to help in any way that we can. These jobs are very important to our community and the county. But I guess we need to just sit down with mayor
Okay.
and his city manager and city attorney and talk about it.
Okay, Judge. So I can get,
I don't know how far out we are on this. These studies can last years, as you know, Bob, you
Oh,
work there.
my understanding is that Air Products is not wanting to renew any contracts past 2000, is it 2018, 16?
I don't know for sure.
So we have a very short amount of time to build a $60 million wastewater treatment plant for
Yeah.
those people in Calvert City.
Last,
But-
I'm sorry, before Judge asked me, the last time I had conversations with the Roger Colbert and the mayor about this, the wastewater, the industrial wastewater treatment plant, the indication was that it was, you know, if it was pushed hard, it'd still be years out. So it's a whole different type of batch processing, and in other words, you just don't run everything into it. You have different types of waste from different facilities that have to be treated differently. But the thing is, they have known for years that there can't be any real growth down there without a better wastewater treatment.
Right, I've sat on several meetings, and that's the same thing I'm hearing, Lloyd, that if we're gonna not only continue what we've got, there's not gonna be any growth until this situation is resolved. That was my understanding.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions of Josh?
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. David Grove asked to address the court this morning. Mr. David?
Morning, Judge Miller.
Good morning.
Morning, Fiscal Court. Mr. Anderson. My discussion is very short. I'm a resident of Birmingham Point subdivision. I'm here representing myself. I have documentation from the road owner. Asked him to represent him here in 2010. He declined. And even though there are other property owners present, I'm representing myself. My request is for fiscal court to make necessary repairs to Walhalla Drive that has been repaired before. Mr. Anderson tells me he has inspected the area and is familiar with the damage that is done. In a method to prevent this from occurring again, at least 3 years ago, I contacted a equipment operator who cleared the vegetation on the west side of the road and has prevented the road from washing out for at least three years. The washout did not occur when the golf course was in operation and the areas were maintained and kept mowed. So I know that particular item will work. The other item is at least one of the culverts is badly bent and the affected area needs to be removed to prevent clogging of the area. With respect to the rest of the road, I don't own it. And the property owners in the subdivision do not own it. Our documentation in our codes and covenants says the golf course owner developer owns the road. There have also been discussions in my documentation here with Mr. Darnell, a legal representative of the court, with Jim King. It says he is the manager of Binky LLC, and according to county records and quitclaim deed, Binky LLC is the owner of the road. I may approach. That information is his name, recovered from personal emails, public records of his phone number, email, and address. The other recommendation is county contact him to make some kind of provision to either take over the road, fix the road at his expense, because according to information I've received, the county has already set a precedent to tax or raise the tax on the property owners of other roads that the county did take over. Now, this individual corporation owns the golf course and at least 70 other lots, which is the lion's share of property in that subdivision. I'll take any questions, sir.
Dave, this Jim King, where is he located? I know it's a Delaware corporation, but.
He's somewhere up in Illinois.
Illinois.
That phone number is
Yeah.
a nursery. I don't have a record of the town where he's located.
If you recall, Commissioner, several years ago, we did an emergency
That was 2010.
to go out and try to do some help on that particular road. Of course, this, like Mr. Dave said, it's owned by, the majority is owned by this one individual.
Yes, sir.
And up to this point, it appears he has done very little, if anything, to do anything with the road.
In 2010, with correspondence with him, I contacted a contractor locally and asked him if he would clean out that west side of the road. And he said, well, he'd have to be paid. So he contacted Mr. King. Mr. King paid him. I do not have any documentation saying what he was paid. I know he was asking for about $700, but it included just machinery and cleaning out the vegetation. I cleaned out a down tree so that he could get his bulldozer in there, but that thing there, cleaning out that vegetation after the repairs to the road will work, and my request is the council help us out.
Right? Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I just want to make sure that when you mentioned the precedent that had been set on the court raising people's taxes, I want to make sure, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, but property owners have to agree to that, right? In this, I just want to make sure that you understand that we can't go in and raise their taxes.
That's why you've got to contact the property
Right.
owner.
Right,
And if he is unable or unwilling
right.
to perform his financial obligation, he's got a liability. Mr. Anderson has also told me that there is a safety problem because
Oh,
of the
absolutely.
road
The
being
roads are
washed out.
bad. There's no doubt.
Possibly safety equipment could not get in there. The other thing that another individual pointed out to me was there's a lot of other traffic that comes in that road that the residents are familiar with the problem. Other people are not. And if they come in their motorcycles, quads, and whatever, and cut the corner short, they're going to end up in the ditch. And now we're going to have a liability problem.
But-
Somebody else.
I just want to make sure I understand. What is the process if you have a property owner? Because in the case where we did that, Opal Lane, the residents agreed, all but one, I believe, and he only owned 2 lots. So the rest agreed among themselves that they would share the cost of bringing that road up to spec. So my question would be, what happens if you have this gentleman, let's say he doesn't agree to do that and he owns a majority of the property, what happens then? Are we able to force him then to share in that burden?
Be condemnation would be the only.
Yeah, condemnation.
Only eminent domain would be the only.
Is that
avenue
something-
that I would say it would be available.
Is that something the court can do? I don't wanna give you false hope. I'm trying to understand fully what we would have to do.
Well, that's.
To make sure-
There's not a way to fix it in tax.
Okay,
That's just, there's not a procedure for that.
so he has to agree, or they have to
Well-
sue him, basically? I wanna make sure that we all, you know, I don't want you to walk, yeah, I want, because the roads are awful, they need to be fixed, they should have been fixed a long time ago, there's no doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
I just don't know what we can do, other than maybe the judge leverage a little bit the concern on our behalf. Am I missing something other than that we can do?
Well, the only thing we can do is have Jeff as our legal advisor, write Mr. King, email him, we've got his address here, stating the concerns of the people that live there, since did you say, Dave, he had 70 lots? That's about somewhere.
I don't know the total number. I know how many Paramount Corporation owned before. I don't know exactly the
Okay,
exact number.
but there's several.
Close.
All right. Jeff, all we can do is contact him and do our best, Dave.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you for
Thank you,
being here.
Council.
Kevin, I'm sorry I jumped over you.
That's all right.
Jeff has a settlement, I think, for the court this morning.
A couple items.
First is the 2012 property tax settlement, which started April 17th of 2012, and the reason why it was the 17th, because the 15th actually fell on a Sunday that particular year, to April 15th of this year. And I give the court copies of the settlement and just needing y'all's approval for the settlement.
Oh, this is it. Yeah, you've all got these, I believe.
Copies and all that stuff.
All right.
I'd make a motion to approve, sir.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion, who made the second? Bob, you made the motion. Terry, did you get the second? Oh, I gotta record that. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Go ahead, Kev.
All right, the second item that I have, it has to do with our nuisance ordinance. It's a property out on Castle Drive out in the Moores area, and a letter has been sent. He has responded, and he is requesting a hearing. So I know that,
Well, that goes to the board that hears that.
okay, I didn't know who takes it to the board, or.
I just give it to their chairman. I mean, I can give it to him, but that's all it takes.
Okay.
I'd be glad to. If you
Okay.
want me to give it to him.
Well, I
You
didn't know
can.
if you sat in on those meetings, or if
No.
the council did or whatnot, but, okay. Dan, you said it, you did, okay, just to let you know that he has requested a hearing for that.
So that needs to be changed. One typo here, Sheriff, that needs to be 2013 instead of 2012.
Okay.
Correct that, so.
Change
just want-
it,
Yeah, I
yeah.
want to make sure I just caught that when I was looking at it. Anything else, Sheriff?
That's all I have at this
All
point.
right, Mr. Jim Sires. Jim?
Let's see that.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, members of the fiscal court, for having me on the docket today. What I'd like to do is go ahead and petition the fiscal court to accept Crooked Oak Loop into the county road system, which we had done this before in the past. It consists of about 2,700 feet of blacktop road already. We blacktopped this road in 2003 at the request of the fiscal court to bring it up to y'all's standards. So at this time, we would like to go ahead and petition y'all to take it into the county road system. If y'all got any questions on it, I'd be happy to answer anything about it.
Yeah, Jim and I have talked about this, and that's been a long time ago.
Yes, it is.
Jim, of course, worked as our environmental director at Health Department for many years. And when we first started looking at it, it was gravel road, right, Jim?
That's correct.
And it was fairly new, and of course, we had our ordinance in place that they had to be 15 years, wasn't it, Jim? And so many residents. Since then, the residents themselves have put a surface on the road. So I guess what we need to do, if you just give us our petition, we'll set it for a public hearing. We'll go start the process. I'll appoint Russell and Josh and Bob Gifford to be our road viewers, to go out and look. Is that the steps we?
Well, you could get that reviewed to make sure everything's in basic compliance, or you can go ahead and set a public hearing, either way.
Let the road viewers go first and report back.
Right.
Well,
Once you
that's
get
fine.
their reports in and are ready for a public hearing, then,
Okay, all right. But Jim can go ahead and turn his petition in this morning, is that?
oh yeah, that needs to be
Yeah, I don't
done.
have a petition on today, but I'll have to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I've got to get all the people's signatures. We did it in the past.
Right.
Yeah. And y'all have that.
We can probably dig it out, Jim, but I don't know, it's probably
It's probably
easier to go ahead and do it
Those
again.
signatures will need to be updated.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll update that for you, and I'll get that
Okay.
necessary paper to you.
Okay,
Okay.
that'll be good.
All right.
And Russell, if y'all will, go ahead and make your inspection, so we'll have that done and ready.
Good.
Okay,
All right, appreciate it. Y'all get any more questions?
we've got petition forms in the office, Jim, for
Okay.
you to pick up.
I'll
We
pick-
may have one right here.
We may have one here.
Do any of the property owners have to convey any additional feet for the right-of-way, or is it all dedicated on the plat? Is
It's
it
not
like-
dedicated on the plant. I don't think so, but we'll go ahead and make that right. Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank y'all. Larry Witt, there you are.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Just wanted to give you all an update on the splash pad that opened at the park on Memorial Day weekend after a long 7-year process. It's been a success. It's a beautiful addition to the park. We did have a few problems at first with the surface being a little slick, but we closed it down one day, put a new surface on it, added some grit, sand to it, and since then hadn't had a single complaint. Feel like we're hosting between 250 to 300 kids a day so far. Everybody seems to enjoy it. The reason I'm here today is we're getting numerous calls daily wanting to rent the splash pad or a pavilion beside the splash pad. The park board has agreed to build one, and they'd like to rent that out and then earmark those funds for resurfacing our walking trails, which are in dire need of some resurfacing. But they wanted the approval of the court to be able to, if we build this pavilion, to be able to rent it out.
Now, we would rent it after hours that we not normally,
No, during hours. We don't close the splash pad at all. It would just be a pavilion that could be used to be rented out for birthday parties, events, whatever.
okay,
Be right next to the splash pad. Now,
okay, this is just renting the pavilion,
just
not,
the pavilion, yeah. That
Okay.
way, everybody can still enjoy the splash pad.
yeah,
It's
okay.
just that you'll have a place to.
I thought maybe it's gonna, after
Right. We're
hours
getting-
or something, do
Like I said, we're
that.
getting numerous calls, a lot of out-of-county calls, to be honest with you, even, wanting to come down here and use our facilities. But like I said, we didn't want to invest that money if we weren't going to be able to recoup it and maybe use some money for some other things, but we wanted y'all's approval to be able to do that.
I think it's a good thing. I think people are gonna want to enjoy the splash pad with their children close by, but they're going to have birthday cake and that sort of thing, so just
Right.
for ease of location. I
We've
think
had
it's good.
many comments that they can't believe it's no charge anyway, just for the splash pad. They're, we've had a lot of really good comments on that. And like I said, it's just beautiful. Special Projects did an amazing job on that splash pad. I'm gonna have to commend them on that, so. But like I said, the park board just wanted to make sure it would be okay if we built this, if y'all would approve of us renting that out.
Is there an estimated cost on the pavilion, or is that something you all are going to cover and then recoup initially?
Right, we would have to recover it.
Okay,
initially,
and then,
yes.
then the proceeds from that will start
Right.
going into the resurface. I would make a motion that you all are able to do that.
Second.
We have a motion and second to allow the park board to build an additional pavilion there at the splash pad to be rented out for special events. Recoup the cost of the pavilion with the rent, and then whatever is left then go toward the, I believe you said the.
Resurfacing of our walking
resurfacing
trails.
of our
Yeah.
walking trails.
All right.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? All
Thank you
in
all
favor
so
of the
much.
motion? I'm sorry, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carried.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Larry. Anybody else here to address the court? All right, let's move into correspondence from the Kentucky Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet. The Kentucky Historical Society was pleased with the overwhelming response to the April 1 marker application deadline. After review by advisory committee, we have approved 15 that we believe will be excellent additions to the Kentucky historical markers. I'm happy to report that the request for Henry H. Lovett Sr. was approved for a marker. Mr. Lovett was a attorney, judge, and I don't know what all was he, Jeff? He's, Mr. Henry, he was
Well,
judge.
yeah, well, and he donated the property for the city park, and
Yeah. The Bar Association strongly recommended this, and so it's gonna happen. Becky Riddle is the coordinator, says, I look forward to working with you on this worthwhile project. So that has been done. From UK Healthcare, this is for the donated space that we provide for the Kentucky Home Place program. Thank you so much for your support of the Kentucky Home Place program. Community partners such as your organization have assisted us with keeping our offices open during these times of budget cuts. I wanted to take this time to make you aware of a new protocol for reviewing, revisiting space agreements that was recently implemented with our program. All agreements that contain a standard renewal clause will simply continue for a period of 5 years, provided there are no requested changes. At the end of the 5 years, the University of Kentucky Legal Department will review the agreement for compliance, and a new agreement will be executed. Of course, you will have the opportunity to request changes to the agreement at any time. This means that if there are no changes, we will not re-sign space agreements on an annual basis. Should you have any questions or concerns, contact me at any time. Larry Quillen, the administrator, the UK Center for Excellence in Rural Health. Of course, for those of you who don't know, the Home Place program provides medicine for people who cannot afford their medicine. They get them below cost, or sometimes, I guess, free to people who qualify. Their office is located on the second floor here in the courthouse. From the Energy and Environment Cabinet, dear Judge Miller, thank you and your staff for the courtesy extended to me during the recent community assistance visit in Marshall County on May the 8th, 2013. The purpose of the visit was to assist community officials with implementation and administration of the local floodplain management program and to evaluate Marshall County's status as a participant in the National Flood Insurance Program. During a thorough drive-through in the special flood hazard area and unmapped flood-prone areas, and the resulting CAV meeting with city officials, no violations or deficiencies were identified concerning your local floodplain management plan. Please keep in mind the requirements and procedures that state staff covered during the visit and use them in continuing to advance your local floodplain management program. The enclosed report outlines results and lists recommendations that will aid you in advancing your floodplain management program. As we address the serious threats of flooding across the Commonwealth, rest assured it is FEMA's and the Kentucky Division of Water's goal to keep Marshall County participating and in good standing with the NFIP. If you should need further assistance, please contact the federal or state officials. I have a copy of that report for anybody to want to see. During the last two heavy rains that we had, I don't know if, because I've got several calls of people that even live on state highways that had water problems as a result of all the rain. Of course, 5 inches of rain that fell real quickly. It's hard to predict what will happen, but
Yeah,
anyway.
The weather station they have out at the high school, it takes readings on a 15-minute increments, and there was one 15-minute time frame that it rained 1.1 inches, I believe. That's about as much as we ever get in 15 minutes. That's why Russell had so much trouble.
Well, we had several roads that we had to close. We had several, we didn't have any washouts particularly, but we did have shoulder
We
problems.
did on the second go around. we
On
had
the
one.
second, had some washouts on the second. I know we got in my garage on that second one. The first one it didn't. But anyway, a lot of people had a lot of problem with that, and hopefully the rain's over for a while, although I doubt it. From the administrative office of the courts, this is from William Bennett, and Bill and I have been working on a odor problem down at the judicial building. We had a report from Summit Environmental. We brought them in to review this. Said, "Dear Judge Miller, I've enclosed a copy of the indoor air quality investigation report submitted by Summit Environmental Services regarding the intermittent odors occurring at the Marshall County Judicial Center. In short, the investigation did not reveal the source of the odor. Air samples and other tests performed do indicate that mold in the air or beyond the drywall in either the district or circuit judge's office is not likely to be the source of the odor. The report does indicate water intrusion occurring prior to the recent extensive repair of the roof and exterior walls has resulted in viable mold on a ceiling tile, one ceiling tile in the second floor women's bathroom in the family court office, and on the drywall in a basement storage area. Removal of this mold by a qualified remediation contractor is essential for the health and the well-being of the building occupants. Since the source of the odor has not been identified, I recommended 2 other potential sources be evaluated. First, have an HVAC contractor for the building inspect the units that supply treated air to both the second floor circuit judge's office and the first floor district judge's office. Look for any dead animals, mechanical malfunctions, location of sewer vent pipes to the air intake. Second, have a plumber inspect for sewer gas, dry traps, anything that could result in an intermittent noxious odor. Thank you in advance for your prompt attention to this matter. I contacted our circuit court clerk. She is following up on this. I have not heard anything in the last week. Carla was out on vacation, came back last week, and I told her of my letter and my conversation with Mr. Bennett. he had made some suggestions, so she was following up. I don't know, I don't have any word on anything else at this point. I have a letter from Joe Bergen. Dear Judge Miller, I wanted to pass along a summary of Attorney General Conway's recent remarks regarding Big Rivers Electric Corporation proposed rate increase. Please find the documents attached. I've also attached a letter Fair Rates Kentucky is circulating to elected officials in the counties affected by the Big Rivers rate increase. Elected officials are pinning their names to the attached letter, and we hope you will do the same. We plan to submit the letter to the PSC as soon, so please let us know if we can add your name. I guess all of you have been seeing on TV, there is a controversy. It does affect the Jackson Purchase Electric Co-op, which serves the north end of our county. A lot of people are upset. It was something to do with the smelters up there in Hancock County. Don't have all the details, but what they want us to sign as elected officials, and put it on our letterhead, and I'll just read it. As we begin to recover from the global recession, Kentuckians continue to struggle to provide for their families. The last thing these hardworking men and women in our rural western Kentucky communities need during these difficult times is the added burden of higher utility bills. Unfortunately, that is exactly what Big Rivers Electric Corporation is requesting before the Public Service Commission. And it's not a small increase, 23%, or nearly $300 per household per year. This is not a viable option for Kentucky families, and on behalf of the many thousands of taxpayers collectively represented by those who sign below, we strongly urge the Public Service Commission to reject the Big Rivers rate increase. Western Kentuckians are simply seeking fair and reasonable utility rates. We are happy to pay for the power generation that we use, but we should not be forced to pay for that which we do not. Big Rivers should do what other businesses must do when they are faced with market challenges, adapt without forcing their customers to pick up the tab. Western Kentucky's economic viability is on the line. Our reasonable electric rates are one of the top reasons industries and businesses located in our region. If we lose the competitive edge, we will see greater job losses and economic decline. Please do all you can to protect Western Kentucky citizens and to assure fair, reasonable electric rates for those served by Big Rivers Electric Corporation. That's what they're asking us to sign. So what's your pleasure?
I make a motion that we sign. I mean, I understand rate increases, I think to some degree that's expected, but a 23% rate increase I think is just unreasonable.
You have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. We'll prepare this and have a place for each of you to sign, and we'll send that back to Mr. Bergen. I have an email I met last week with Bonnie Kincannon and Samantha Holler from the Aurora area. The Jonathan Aurora Action Committee, who previously held a 99-year lease of the Sawgram House and the pavilion at the park located in Aurora, have dissolved and can no longer continue to lease the site. In the interest of keeping the park open and active, the Aurora Ross Fire Department Auxiliary wishes to assume the 99-year lease previously held by Jack to hold special events on the site in the interest of promoting the Aurora area. And would the fiscal court consider paying the security light fee. The Aurora Ross Fire Department Auxiliary would assume the other electric and water charges. This is from Bonnie Kincannon and Samantha Holler of the Aurora Ross Fire Department Auxiliary. I would like to see that continue to be used.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
they're
they're
very
been,
interested.
well, I know it, and what about the information center? Is that going away?
Well, Jonathan Aurora Action Committee has dissolved, and, Bonnie and I, that we just discussed, they have several special events
Yeah.
that the auxiliary has planned for.
They're very
for that.
active, very active and very good to work with. They wouldn't have any problem with that at all. But I just don't know if we're gonna have any, I didn't know if the tourism, I thought tourism had,
Well, at one time, they had a person out there part-time. Now, I
Right.
don't know, I haven't talked to Randy.
okay.
to
I didn't
see.
know if that was gonna continue or not.
I don't know, I'll check.
We can check on that,
check
but
with
no, I'd
Randy.
make a motion that we allow them to take over that lease.
All right, you heard the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Jeff, we'll need to get with Bonnie and them, I guess, and draw up a lease or check,
I assume that auxiliary is a legal entity.
I suppose.
I'll have to check that out.
All right. Any other correspondence? All right, let's move on to,
Melanie, could you help me locate a copy of that, please?
old business. You've received the minutes of the May 21st meeting. Any corrections or additions to the minutes of the meeting?
Motion to approve the minutes, Judge.
I have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. We have had an issue with unemployment. Jeff, does that need to be an executive session, or does that,
Probably so, at this point, because it's under review.
all right? Do I have a motion for a quick executive session?
Make a motion.
Have a motion, second? All in
Second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
We'll be in executive session for a short period. Call the court back into regular session. We had a rather lengthy, didn't know it was gonna be that lengthy, in regard to unemployment issues in regard to county employees who leave our employ for whatever reason or under what circumstances. Our county attorney, Jeff Edwards, is going to ask the assistance of our Commonwealth attorney in his office in looking into this matter and reporting back to us. Am I stating that correctly?
Yes.
And we'll do that as quickly as possible. Big Bear Park, we left that hanging as to what we want to do. We table the issue. I still have not received any correspondence from Rachel Terrell in my request as to actually what the money would go for. The request from TVA or their demand is either $1,500, which would give us a 30-day by 30-day agreement, or $5,000 to give us another, is it 25 years yet?
I think so.
30.
30, another 30-year lease. We talked about if we combined them all, and it was their opinion, and I guess it's a good opinion, because some of them won't come due for another 2 or 3 years. And that we wait and take these individually at a time. I've stated my problem with them asking us when we do all the work and keep their property clean and free of debris and we have spent a lot of money developing these parks, but I don't think they're gonna relent on the issue.
Their idea, I know, Judge, you know what their idea is. Of course, it's a navigational impoundment, not a recreational impoundment. These are just extras that we've provided. They don't really care whether we happen to have them or not. I don't know if that's the best attitude for them to have, but I think that's what it is.
Jeff, did you get any more information on the totals of the bundling we had talked about? There's a little confusion.
Yeah, I spoke again, some of this was addressed in the May 20 letter from James Adams. I spoke again to Mr. Adams and to Rachel Terrell Monday. And they're still recommending we do a license on the one that's available, wait the 8 years till the others easements are up, and then bundle.
Okay.
That was their basic recommendation.
My only fear is, with the new administration with TVA on a month-to-month lease, they could give us a 30-day notice. 5 to 5,000 locks it in for 30 years.
Yep.
Right.
My issue on the whole thing, and I'd really, at least, I've been looking at, hoping we could bundle them all now, but maybe that's not the best, but we
And
don't know
we could.
we don't know what the situation's gonna be in 8 years at all.
Right.
And we
You're
have,
just, if you bundle
we at
them all
least,
into a license now, you're giving up 8 years.
Yeah.
I understand
easement
that, but
that's
they
not-
didn't the cost was, we
Right.
didn't have any cost at that time. And if we wait, what we now have is Mr. Adams is at least agreement, his ear, so to speak, that he's going to watch the cost going forward here and make sure that it's not, the costs are not exorbitant. That would be my only, that'd be my only argument, that, we have him looking at this now. Hopefully that would save us some dollars. Now, it sounded like different numbers. He indicated that you could bundle them and start them all at $5,000, but then your letter really, did it say that, or? Yeah, it didn't say
Well,
that. I didn't think it did.
No. His numbers on here are the consolidated easement was, for all of them, would have been 12 to 15,000.
Okay.
He doesn't have a consolidated license.
But the consolidated easement would be 12
I mean, he
to
hasn't gotten past the
15,000.
point, why would you consolidate them into a license now when you already got an easement on most of them?
Right,
You
Right,
see,
right.
that's
I
where you didn't
understand.
put it in here.
right. So they
I don't
recommend
know.
we take a license out now to go ahead and shore up the
The Bear
one
Creek-
property since it's
the Bear
expired,
Creek.
Right.
Yeah.
and then bundle.
I mean,
it.
ultimately, we've still got that issue that there's 2 parks that there's not even a easement.
Is that the ones, did they mention license agreement? I thought when they were here at our last meeting, they referenced those with a license.
Well,
That was the
technically,
1,500, wasn't it?
Well, the 2 existing that don't have expirations,
right.
they reference those as having licenses. So do we have current license agreements on those? The ones without an expiration, because a license agreement, though it's 30 days, it doesn't have an expiration.
Well, you would still have a 30-day notice period on
So is
those.
that what we currently have on
Technically,
those
yes.
2? Because it's
That's
been in
on
place for some
Birmingham
time.
ramp, boat ramp, and Rocky Point.
And we've not had any problem with those, but that certainly doesn't mean that we wouldn't next month.
Right.
Right,
Right.
okay.
Those are simply ramps and not
Right.
Ramps and courtesy docks.
Right.
courtesy docks only, right?
So do you all want to license now and try to bundle later, or?
I don't want to spend, I won't give them anything, but we're gonna have to, I think.
They're not gonna,
No, I don't
They're
think
gonna
they're,
go
I don't
away.
think they're
They're
gonna
gonna go away.
relent. Nope.
they don't have to.
Well, the way I see it, if we take a $1,500 license option and they revoke our permit for some reason, that's beyond our control. It's not something that we can,
It would be, it wouldn't, if we
Help.
had an easement, we could.
But if we do the 5, we're locking it in for 30 years.
right. And then our our bundle amount changes, obviously, because
Well,
of that,
it-
but
it
does
would-
it reduce our ability to bundle in a couple of years, Judge, or does that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think they made that clear, did they, Jeff?
What's that?
That when these others come available, we might be able to bundle in?
Yes.
If we
We
take
can-
the
we can
5,000
re-
easement now, does that still give us the opportunity to bundle the other two later? Will there,
I think so,
will there be a
yes.
discounted rate, I guess is what I'm asking?
I'd hate to go from an easement to a license. I really would. What we've already spent could just be taken away in 30 days. I know it probably wouldn't be, but nothing we could do about it. We wouldn't have any legal recourse at that
Well,
point.
if you recall, I asked the gentleman here from Muscle Shoals, what happens if we just say, no, we're not gonna do this? And I believe his answer was, well, we'd probably just cordon it off.
Yeah.
Close it, and deny access to the reservoir. Well, nobody wants that for our people that use that. We spend a lot of money there. Nobody wants to deny access, but my problem has been all along, I think they're just being absolutely unreasonable in view of the fact that we've spent all the money, they've spent nothing. We continue to spend a bunch of money for maintenance, for porta-johns, for upkeep and all that.
And I assure you that no one expected Corps to put up barricades at the downstream of the Barkley Dam. A year ago or 2 years ago, if you'd asked people what they were going to do, they'd say, oh, no, they would never do that. But they're about to start that project right shortly, aren't they? I know we're fighting it, but
I think it's been
It has
halted.
been,
it's been blocked for
Freedom
now.
to Fish Act is passed
Good,
and a 2-year moratorium.
okay.
So those dams that they've already put up barriers, now the Corps must go back, as I understand it, and remove those barriers.
So, but now, anyway, that same situation could come up if you have a license rather than an easement.
Yeah.
Something else could happen.
Does the license not also affect, versus easement also affect the ability to apply for grants?
I would say that's true.
Yes.
If you had a grant situation, you probably couldn't apply for a grant if you wanted to make improvements.
Well, I just need direction. We've tabled this for 2 meetings.
I'd make a motion that we go forward with the easement. We've been expired for how long? 2 years?
2 years.
2 years. I'd make a motion that we secure an easement until we can bundle the other properties and
That's
upon their
on Bear
expiration.
Creek, right?
Yep,
Bye.
it's Big Bear.
You've heard the motion that we say $5,000 for an easement for the Bear Creek Park. Is there a second?
I reluctantly second that, but I don't know what choice we have.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Chair votes no, just as a protest. I know we had to do it.
I understand.
I know we had to do it. All right, thank you. Let's move into animal control. Jason, fixed up a job description for the animal control officers. Did y'all all get a copy of that? Mel, did you give everybody a copy of that?
I don't think so.
I don't remember saying it.
Okay, let me read it. I talked with the animal control officers, they both signed it. Number 1, pursuant to KRS 258-195, Section 3, a Marshall County animal control officer shall have the authority and duty to investigate and issue citations and/or seek criminal summons warrants for violations of KRS Chapter 258, violations of animal cruelty, provisions of the Kentucky Revised Statute, and violations of city and county ordinances pertaining to animal control. In addition, Marshall County Animal Control Officer shall have the authority and duty under KRS Chapter 258 to answer and respond to all animal complaint calls, including but not limited to domestic animals running at large, animals creating a public nuisance or safety hazard, and/or alleged aggressive animals which have reportedly attacked a person. Number 3, when responding to a call, a Marshall County Animal Control Officer is expected to keep dispatch informed at all times of his location and the status of the call. A Marshall County Animal Control Officer shall maintain written records of time spent carrying out his duties. Number 4, a Marshall County Animal Control Officer should refrain from being involved in pest control activities. The officer does not entail the removal from private property, rats, mice, snakes, skunks, coyotes, insects, or any other form of wildlife that is simply causing a nuisance to the property owner, but is not posing a health or safety risk to the general public. And Jason put this together. They all said that looked fine with them. They both signed it, but I would ask for your approval of this description, job description for animal control.
Make a motion to approve, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Animal control draft ordinance. Jeff, where are we on that one?
I thought I had gotten that to you all. I haven't gotten everything back from the cities yet. I think I said last time, and I overlooked it. I'll get you a copy of what we come up with.
All right.
And I'll,
Try to have it for the next
Yes.
meeting if possible?
Yes.
Okay. No, where's that draft ordinance?
it was at that.
We have the second reading of ordinance 2013-05. That is a budget amendment. The first reading was passed on the 23rd of May. It was reviewed and approved by Robert O. Brown, State Local Finance Officer, and this is the second reading. Be it an ordinance relating to the annual budget amendment thereof, whereas the County of Marshall has received additional funds, now be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County that Section 1, the annual budget for the fiscal year 2012-2013 is amended. Increased revenue, $1,303,465.06, and increased expenditures, $1,303,465.06. We read over those the last time, and if you want, we can do it again, but that's up, whatever the court is. Section 2, the amounts added to the revenue and expenditure accounts in Section 1 are for governmental purposes. This was approved on the 23rd day of May 2013. What's your pleasure on the second reading?
Motion approved.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Drill press bids. Russell, we had a tie, and I think you straightened out all that?
Yeah, Jacob withdrew his bid and said to go ahead and let Jack Duncan have it.
All right. How about your meeting with Mike Oliver on the Gilbertsville
We
situation?
ain't got there yet, cause they've got water issues too, just hadn't had a chance to meet.
Okay. But you've been in contact with Mike? Okay. All right, is there any other old business? All right, let's go into new business. We advertised for a bid for tractors and mowers. The Marshall County Fiscal Court will be accepting bids on 2 current model tractors and side-arm mowers with 3 tractor mower trade-ins. Specifications can be obtained at the Marshall County Road Department Monday through Friday. All bids must be submitted by 9 a.m., June the 11th, 2013. The Marshall County Fiscal Court reserves the right to reject any and all bids. For more information, contact Russell York or Jeff Jaco at 270-527-3173. We have 2 bids, I believe. The first bid is from McKeel Equipment Company. Tractor with side-on mower bids, but McKeel Equipment Company of Paducah quotes the following machine: new Kubota M108 SD SC with Terrain King, and I'm assuming that's the name of the mower,
Yes.
Russell? Okay. And it gives all the, design $99,998 each. Then their alternate, they have one available, a used Kubota with a Terrain King is $94,328. And says has less than 200 hours. Their trade-in offers for the Case IH MX100, $16,000. The Case MX100 number 2, $16,000. Case IH 5130, $8,000. I guess those are the trade-in. You want to look at those, Russell, and make sure they meet the specifications. The next bid is, from Hudson. Mark Wilson, the accounts manager for Hudson. This is for John Deere. John Deere 610 or 605M cab trailer. And Alamo I guess this is this for both units? The way it looks here, huh? Their total bid is $217,179.68 with a trade-in of $34,000, which makes their bid for both $183,179.68. Jeff, make sure I'm reading that right, Jeff. I think I am. With their trade-in, with trade-in there at the bottom is there.
183, 179.68.
For two mowers.
Right.
All right.
The trade-in total was 34,000.
Okay. And what was the other bid, Russell?
99,998.
That was for
each.
one.
Yes. It's like 200,000 minus 40. Right?
What's the pleasure of the court?
There is
What do you, did they bid?
there's some things that didn't meet specs on McKeel's. Plus, the mower that they sell is a lighter duty mower. And, I feel like in the long run, we'd be out more money repairing them. We've had good luck with the ones that we've already got. We've run them, this is the second year, we ain't had a bit of problems. Plus, the Kubota tractor itself weighs approximately 1,500 pounds less than the John Deere. We did have a little weight issues on the John Deere, and we got that took care of. And I just don't think we could take care of it, 1,500 pounds.
So your recommendation to the court is?
To go with the John Deere and the Alamo mower.
For those reasons. And keeping the same equipment as far as parts and all that too.
Yes.
You said the Kubota did not meet the specs?
Well, there's, just like we've asked for right and left-hand doors, they just got one door. The mowers is lighter duty. The hydrostatic pump on the mower, we asked for a piston closed loop pump, and it don't say that one is.
You've heard the recommendation of the road superintendent. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion that we accept the John Deere bid for those reasons that Russell stated.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Can we have the record reflect that that's for next fiscal year transaction? That we're not intending to buy those this fiscal year?
Correct.
Oh, they won't be here for another 3 months.
Russell, can we get like a spec on the metal on those decks or something that'll help us kind of weed out the lighter duty mowers? Take care of that problem.
I mean, you can look at them, also.
Yeah.
And tell they're a lighter. And Alamo makes this mower,
But it's just a lighter version.
yes.
Okay.
All right, our court facilities reimbursement, we have received our forms from the administrative office of the courts. Emily, you want to explain, or
This is a form that.
do every year?
We do annually. This is where AOC is estimating what they're going to advance us throughout the next fiscal year. It's based off of this fiscal year's figures. They were requesting it be $258,152 throughout the fiscal year. They make that in quarterly payments. I looked at what we had anticipated, what we are anticipating for next year's salaries and expenses, plus, insurance for next year, and I come out within couple $1,000s of that, so I feel like that's a good estimate. Last year, I went to them and asked them to lower it because we made personnel changes that they weren't aware of, so, but I feel like this estimate that they're suggesting is pretty accurate, and think that we should move forward with it.
$258,152. That's the recommendation of the county treasurer. I would ask your approval for me to sign off on behalf of the court.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. I need to fill the rest of that out. Okay. Possum Trot Fire Protection, we have their audit report. It's for your review. I've looked through it. Have no items that jumped out, but it's for your review if you'd like to review it. I'm sure if you're like my office, I don't know if you've been getting calls at home, but
Yes,
got a lot of calls on mosquito spraying.
yes.
We're in constant contact with the Department of Agriculture. In fact, Fred Nestler from the department was by my office just the other day. What's the guy's name, Melanie, that's been staying in touch with us?
Roger.
Roger Wilson. We don't have the spray planes anymore. So they're trying to combat this problem with ground foggers. And I think they're doing most of the spraying at night, is what I understand.
From what I understand, they're just moving them from one place to another.
They have 4 trucks for nearly 24 counties, 4 trucks. And they're working full-time 4 hours, 4 days a week. And I wanted to bring it up because in speaking to all the various people that I've been speaking with about it, they seem to think that although the criteria were right at the borderline for meeting the emergency declaration stage, that with the floodwaters that just hit McCracken County and with the recent rainfalls in the other outlying areas, that within about a week's time, we're going to be able to meet that criteria for the emergency declaration. So the people that I've spoken with have advised me that as a court, if we could maybe start looking at doing what was done a couple of years ago, where the judge executives got together and the fiscal courts came together and began to lobby the governor's office and Jamie Comer's office at Department of Ag about use of the planes again, that's the only thing that's going to combat this problem.
And I know it is costly, but that's the only thing that's gonna help.
But
If
disaster
they don't have a
funds,
comprehensive
right?
spraying of the area, it's just gonna be, it's terrible. I mean, it's bad right now.
Well, certainly, we can request in writing or by phone call, whatever y'all want me to do.
Everybody needs
Everybody that, I mean, we get calls every day.
Right.
We
Well,
all
they
have
need
to-
to, and they need to be directed to the health department.
Right.
If that the health department, then they have a direct line to the Department of Ag, and they're using their trucks to the best of their ability. So they need to know where they are when they call, and that may help them a little. But we need to have some kind of declaration from the court that says we would request the planes to comprehensively spray this area.
And I spoke with private entities. I spoke with McGee, who is currently spraying for Hopkinsville, Christian County, Serval. McGee has a service station in Murray. They're not equipped to do it. The service station and I was just gonna bring estimates forward so people, if they're interested in having their own done, or if we wanted to look at options as a court, we could do so, but they're not even able, the McGee, who's currently spraying in Christian County, they said feasibly it just wouldn't be possible for them to come spray these areas. Serval is in the process of obtaining the equipment. They'll be ready by the end of June, but overall that's going to be so costly. But at least it might be an option for local individuals to get some sort of relief until maybe we could have this provision move forward to have the emergency declaration issued. I don't know, but hopefully, Judge, maybe you and some of the other judges could get together and do what you did a couple years ago.
Be more than happy. We'll try to get a letter off to the governor's office and to Commissioner Comer this afternoon requesting, and I'm sure the other judges, I'll make some calls and encourage them to do the same thing. There was TV blurb last night on the 5 o'clock news. In fact, they were in Marshall County talking to Billy Price, lives out in the Olive area. And according to him, now, where he got his information, I don't know, that we were close to getting an emergency declaration. Didn't say when, but he thought it was close. The problem was bad enough. So we'll certainly get those letters off this afternoon, one to the governor and one to Commissioner Jamie Comer. And we'll stay in contact with the other judges as well and encourage them to write letters to get a spray plane in here. Okay, Treasurer's Report, Emily.
May 31st, 2013, general fund had a book balance of $409,582.47. Road fund, $419,933.42. Jail fund, $70,657.46. Grant fund, $7,502.16. 911 fund, $173,602.03. Occupational tax administrator, $3,431,254.40. Veterans van fund, $3,143.39 for a total of all funds of $4,515,745.33.
Any questions on the Treasurer's Report?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve, subject to audit. Second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Intra-fund transfer account.
I'm gonna ask for your approval to transfer $50,000 to the jail fund and $350,000 to the road fund, both out of occupational tax administrator.
You've heard the request. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve, Judge.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Payroll accounts receivable report. Emily.
As of May 31st, 2013, Marshall County Sheriff's Office owes $349,623 for payroll.
Right, any questions? All right, appropriation transfer. Oh, a motion on the accounts receivable report.
Make that motion,
We have a
Judge.
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries. Appropriation transfer.
This appropriation transfer is fairly lengthy. It clears up several shortages and several due to rounding.
Should we looking at this one here?
Yes. There's only one item coming out of reserves. Everybody else was able to keep it within their budget and keep their budgets intact. And that is for an election expense that's coming out of reserves for $2,778.36.
Any questions? Now to entertain a motion on the transfer report, appropriation transfer.
Motion to approve, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay. Drawdown request for the Arts Commission.
Arts Commission is asking for a draw request number 4 for $30,416.50 on the loan that we have with KCO.
How much again? Say again.
$30,416.50.
All right. You've heard the drawdown request for the Arts Commission. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Our animal shelter report for May of 2013, animals in the pen as of 4/30/13/39. Animals brought in by wardens, animal wardens 37, brought in by citizens 91. Total animals taken in 128. 37 dogs, 20 cats, 30 puppies, 41 kittens. Adopted 109, animals reclaimed 10, animals euthanized 15, animals in the pen as of 5/31 or in foster care 33. Adoption fees $1,742. Any questions on the animal shelter report?
No, appears to continue to be doing a really good job out there.
Continuing to get a lot of animals in, for sure.
That's true.
Of course, it's the spring of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Notice we had 30 puppies brought in and 41 kittens there just in 1 month. Okay. You've had an opportunity to review the bills. Do I hear a motion to pay the bills?
Motion.
Pay the bill, Judge.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carried. Any other business come before this court?
Judge, I just had one other thing. The traffic signal there in Calvert City where we had the fatal accident a week ago Friday, the state is working on getting a traffic study conducted there, and they're currently in the process of obtaining the video, I guess, of the incident. But I know several of the people in my district and several of the members of the business community have approached me, and I wanted to pass it along to you all that if you wanted to just contact the State Transportation Department if you support having a traffic signal there. This is the second fatality, according to Calvert City Police, that we've had at that location. And, of course, last time it was a 16-year-old teenager. And if we could do anything at all, I'd just ask
This
that
was
maybe we
down by
McDonald's and Calvert City, the business owners in that area say it's just so
Problem area
busy.
down there that I've got some calls on, Commissioner Drew, is down by that truck stop.
Yes,
I've had some complaints there about trucks pulling out. It's a pretty dangerous area.
It is.
Well, it's a
it is
well-traveled
very well traveled.
area.
And continues to be more so, but I believe that they're in the process of applying for a traffic study there. And hopefully we'll be able to do something. It's just, it's building up and it's becoming so dangerous. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be able to get some.
That whole stretch down through there. All right, any other business?
Do y'all need to approve the names of the part-time workers?
Yes. I had Russell pull, some applications, and I think he's conducted some interviews, so have you made your decision, Russ?
Ray Chumbler IV, Brantley Barrett, and Russell Wilson.
All right. Heard, have a motion to approve those three temporary hires. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in
Gonna-
favor?
Gonna have them start Monday, that starts a new pay period and everything.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. What you need now?
Was it third name?
Was it Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Any other business come before the court?
Motion adjourned, Judge.
Have a motion. Is there a second?